Hello one and all, this is Spare Time here bringing you another MechWarrior Online tutorial for you. And as you can see, we've moved on. This is my second one. If you have missed the first one about getting started, which is getting the game set up with the settings and how to use the trial mechs and things, please go take a look at my video right up there. That you can click on that link or the link down in the notes, and that should take you to my first video where you will see a wonderful guy there giving you great information about how to get started with MechWarrior. Now, let's continue on here. This video is going to be about hints, which will hopefully help keep you alive for longer in the matches. So let's see what we can show you to help you along, all right? Because it gets a little frustrating after a while, because if you're not doing well, it's tough, you die a lot, you keep going. One of the things you should remember right off the bat, one thing to do is to make sure that you spectate. If you die, watch the other players. See what they do. See what they do wrong. See what they do right. You know, you can learn things, all right? Make sure you spectate. It's a great thing to do. It's fun to do sometimes because you can really get some good action going there too. All right, so let's see. We need to go over here and get rid of that because we are going to first talk about the weapons basics. The basics of the weapons. Now this is my account here where I've got a couple mechs in. Like I said, I'm just starting out myself, so you guys, I want to show you guys what I'm doing as I go along, so you guys can make it, hopefully make it a little bit easier. So it's under Spare Time. It's spelled the same way as my name up there. Please add me to your friends list on here if you've got it set up. And let's go in and see what we can do to help you live a little longer. All right, let's see here. We're going to go into the testing grounds here. This is a good one for me here. Now, some of the stuff we're going to talk about first is, for the weapons, is range. All the weapons have range. There's a certain distance the weapons work best at. So, I'm going to show you how to tell that. Okay, so what we're going to do is, if we go here, on all the weapons, on your weapons chart over here, it gives you a number. That is the best number to use, the best distance to be at for those weapons. So if you go further than that, sometimes they even stop working. If you go shorter than that, sometimes they stop working. So there is some limits to what to use the weapons for. Okay, so that's where you tell what range you need to be at. The smaller the numbers, the closer in you need to be. You are what's called a brawler. You are somebody who needs to get into the mix and actually get up close in order to do your damage. Okay, now, next thing, if you can't, well, if you need to be able to see what the number, where you're at, what you need to do is one of the things you do is look at the mini-map. That dotted line with the arrow on it, that dotted line is 800 meters long on the map. So that will give you an idea about how far something is away. If it's halfway down the line, it's 400 meters. If it's past that line, it could be 1,000 meters away. So, but that gives you an idea about the range based on the position of that line on the map. That'll come in handy when you have a whole bunch of the enemy running around and your teammates, they're targeting them. Those will show up on your map. So you have an idea about where they are and how far they are away. Right. Now, another way of telling, right here on the crosshairs, you see that? It says 296 meters. That means what I'm looking at right now is 296 meters away. That tells you how far something is away. But sometimes things get a little cluttered in there when you're dealing with enemies. You're trying to sight things, so you might not see that as easily. Another way of doing it, the last way of doing it, is, oh, I gotta find somebody here first. Hold on. Before I show you that one, we gotta be able to see somebody. You gotta be able to see an enemy. Like right there.
Target acquired.
See that? Target has been acquired. And if you look, right there is a number, 234 meters. That tells you how far that enemy is away. So even if you are not looking at him, it still says 234 meters away. Or if there's a building between you and him, it still will say 234 meters away. That only works if your teammates have them targeted also. If somebody's looking at them, then they can relay the information to your system. If I was now to go and move behind a building, that information disappears because I no longer have him in line of sight. It pops up when I come back inside again, but as soon as I go behind a building, it disappears. So that's the importance of making sure you see what's being with your group. So I'll get into that later on. But there we go. All right, so that is there. So beam weapons. We'll talk about the certain weapons now. There are 3 different types of weapons. There are beam weapons, there are ballistic weapons, and missile weapons. So for the beam weapons shoot shoots automatically, shoots instantaneously, and they hit instantaneously. If you look at the crosshairs turn red immediately, that means I've hit him immediately. Okay? Even if I go to a farther one here, this guy over here, it still hits it instantly because they're traveling at the speed of light. They develop more heat, so there's a downside to that. But now if I now use my AC-20, which is a ballistic weapon, it actually has an item, a bullet that shoots, so it actually has travel time between me and the target. You look, see, there's that delay. So you have to plan that in when you're shooting something. If he is moving, or if this guy over here is moving, you've got to shoot in front a little bit for him to move into the path of the bullet. You just have to think about that. So you have to what's called lead your shots. Okay, so here we are. So we've got the beam weapons. You shoot directly at your target. The ballistic weapons, you have to lead your target a bit in the direction that they are moving. Now, missile weapons are a little bit tougher. I'm going to go get my missile boat. Missiles require a lock-on. Well, most missiles. There's some missiles, I think they're called the streak missiles, which are instantaneous lock-ons. But most of the missiles require a lock-on. So what you have to do is be able to lock onto a target. Let's take you in here and we're going to take a look at this. That arrow's been up there the whole time. I've left. Hold on one second. Let's take care of that. While this is loading up, let's get rid of that arrow. There. That's better. Now we can see. Alright, here we are. We're back again. Now, with missiles. If you look on here, I have a couple LRM-10s, which are long-range missiles. I'm going to get right here. Look at this.
Target acquired.
The circle, when it shrinks down like that and goes to red, that means it's a good lock-on. You've got a lock-on there. If you fire, it will target that mech. But if you look, my LRM-10s down there are blacked out. That means I cannot shoot them from this close. If I do shoot them, nothing happens because they don't have enough time to engage like they're supposed to. But if I go over here
New target
and pick another
acquired.
one, the trajectory is they go up and down. So they go up and over and down. So you can sometimes shoot at things over the top of other things, like over the top of your teammates, or over the top of a building, but not always. There'll be some stuff we'll get into a little bit later. Lock-ons.
New target acquired.
If I now have that lock-on, but I move away, see, look, I lose that lock-on. Also, the same thing as what I showed you before. I've got that there. Once I get him out of sight, I lose that lock-on also. That is the importance of having teammates that lock onto. If you see somebody, if you lock onto them, that gives everybody on the map a chance to actually lock on. So,
Target acquired.
if somebody else is looking at that mech, you could be hiding behind a rock, shooting at him with nobody being able to shoot at you, and still be able to hit him because somebody else is working on him or has him targeted. All right? So you got to make sure that you work with people that target their enemies. Second thing, if you fire and your crosshairs do not go red, stop firing. That means they probably have taken cover and you cannot hit them. They're behind something that is hitting the missiles first, and so you cannot hit them. Don't waste your don't waste your ammo. Speaking of which, let's now take this next thing to go into what we're going to talk about next, which is helping yourself. First off, if you're having problems seeing the enemy, there are two things you can try. N is night vision. It lights things up a lot more. If it's dark, if it's a dark map, this will help. H is heat vision. Once again, dark map, or if it's foggy or snowy, this heat vision, H, will help. Okay? Try those if you're having problems seeing the enemy. Okay, then also, what I was just talking about, shooting missiles, if it's not working, they've taken cover. You need to do the same thing. Here's what you got to do. Alright, if you're running around and all of a sudden you hear that lovely sound, incoming missile, and that big, nice big thing that flashes up on the screen, incoming missile, I want you to find a building, find a rock, and show it the love. That means get in close, give that thing a hug, wrap your mech arms around that thing and say, I love you. You know why? Because that building is now guarding you and taking all the missiles so that you don't get hit. Alright? So you're running around, you hear incoming missile, you say, oh look, there's my favorite rock. How are you, Rock? You doing well? The family good? Any little boulders on the way? Hey, well, it's been good talking to you. Thanks for taking care of those missiles for me. I'm now going to go back to battle. All right? Thank you very much. And then you move on your way. Because once you get out of range or they can't hit you, they're going to stop shooting at you. So that is cover. Dive for cover. Next thing to work on. It's called peeking. We're going to be a good thing. It's going to be a peeking Tom. It's not what you think it is. It's peeking, not peeping. It's peeking. Because here's what happens. If you come around a corner, uh-oh, somebody there, back up. Here's what you do. You situate yourself so you're walking straight out, but you turn a little sideways. And then what happens when you come around here, you shoot it. And you back up and do the same thing again. Now you want to make sure you don't get too fast on it, otherwise you're going to get left out in the middle. It takes practice, but that's what you got to do. That is peeking. You'll see a lot of people doing that. It is something that takes a little bit of time to do. The other thing, as you can see, as you're doing it, you're always moving. You don't stop. You don't look at somebody and go, hello, I'm just going to stand right here and shoot you. Because if you're a still target, that means everybody else can target you very quickly and you will not last long. So you need to learn to shoot as you keep moving. You know, if you're going around, you have an idea where something's at, shoot them in the back. Just keep shooting them as you keep moving. Another way of keeping moving while you're shooting is, pardon me, the circle. Small mechs do this really well. They will circle you and just keep doing this the whole time as they're going around you. And they're doing it a lot faster.
Heat level critical.
I'm about to blow myself up with heat. So you just got to keep shooting them. That's the circle. That's the death circle. Okay? That's how you do the circling. All right, so now, next thing. Yes, I hate you little guys. You guys are a pain in the backside. Next thing we need to do is talk about, now you know how to help yourself. Now we want you to help your team. The way to do that, first thing, stay with the group. If you go off by yourself, you're going to die very quickly. Stay with the group. Work together. You see them starting to focus something, spread out a little bit so you don't shoot somebody, and help them. Whoever they're shooting, you try to shoot them too. That'll take out those other mechs very quickly. Second thing about staying with the group, ignore the rabbit. You'll hear this occasionally. Ignore the rabbit. That means there's sometimes these small mechs that go running through the groups, and a whole bunch of people peel off to go shoot them because they want that. They want to get that that kill, and so a whole bunch of people rush them. Well, don't, because what happens is, one, they sometimes lead you into a trap, or two, the rest of the whole group of their other group is coming around a different direction, and thus now you've just left the rest of your team with nobody there to help them. So stay with the group. It's the best way of doing it. All right, personal space. Next thing, this guy has just come around the corner. He's on your team. He's come around the corner and he's shooting at somebody. Don't follow right up behind him and start doing the same thing, because you know why? When he backs up, he's going to back into you, and he's going to get shot more because he can't get into cover, and that's your fault, so he's not going to be happy with you. So make sure you give these guys their own personal space. All right? Don't crowd. And the last thing is targeting. If you see somebody, if you're shooting at somebody, there we go. If you're shooting at somebody,
acquired.
Make sure you hit that E button. Make sure you target things.
New target
Because
acquired.
remember what I showed you earlier? If a missile boat is there, if somebody has some missiles, they cannot target at somebody unless somebody else has targeted that mech. So
New
if you have this guy
acquired.
targeted, that means anybody else on the map can now target him and shoot missiles from anywhere on the map, as long as they're within range. If you
New
don't target,
acquired.
they can't shoot anything. So they're sitting there, twiddling their thumbs, going, can I shoot something, please? Doesn't work too well. So there you go. I think we covered it all. Let's see. I'm going to go through this as I walk through the tunnel there. We talked about the weapons, range. the beam weapons, ballistic weapons, missile weapons. We talked about how to help yourself using the different types of vision, taking cover, peeking around corners, keep moving and circling the enemy. And then helping your teammate. We also talked about keeping with the group. Don't go chasing the rabbit. Consider personal space. Respect their personal space. That's what it is. And targeting. Make sure you target the enemy so people can have something to target. All right? I think that's it. All right. As my mech wanders off around here, we are going to go over here and talk about answers. If you have questions and you leave them in the comments, or you send them to me through Twitch or through MechWarrior, if you have them put me on your friends list, you can do that. Let's see here. Hello. How are you?
Acquired.
That's always fun to see that. It's fun to hear them shoot. All right, back to this. If you have any questions, you will put in the comments or send to me. Please go ahead. I'd love to hear from you guys. Like one of the questions wasn't asked, but you could have asked is in my last video, I said, how long should you use the trial max? Well, that depends on what you want to do. If you're just playing for the occasional gamer, you can use the trial max all you want because they change them out, and so you can try different things. If you want to start customizing things, then you want to buy a mech. At least wait 25, there's the first 25 matches, you get bonuses for playing in the first 25 matches. Use trial mechs then, so that way all the money you've got is free. Use that and then get the next mech. Or buy yourself a mech. In fact, that leads nicely right into my next thing of the next video, which is right up there. I'm going to be talking about how to go about buying a mech, making choices. I haven't done it yet, but as soon as I do, that link will work. You can click on the screen or down below, which I will put there as soon as it's done, and we will see you there when I get to that point, when I get that all taken care of. Meanwhile, hopefully you guys can follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter, and subscribe to me on YouTube. That way you guys can get the emails and everything else about when I put out the new videos. All right? Love working with you guys. And I will see you guys the next time. Meanwhile, I am going to continue shooting this guy. See you guys later on. Bye!